Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. I've got a confession to make. I think the last setup video I made was in 2012. Yep, I know. It's pretty bad. What am I doing? Anyway, I figured that now might be the perfect time to basically break down all of the equipment that I use to make my videos on a daily basis, and by doing that I'll achieve two things. One, I might be able to give you guys some last minute Christmas gift ideas. That would be useful, seeing as Christmas is in a week, holy moly. And two, I'll hopefully be able to show you the kind of seed that I'm hoping is going to blossom into my absolute dream ultimate gaming setup for 2019. The journey begins in a completely different room. I'm in a student house right now. I live with other people who are students, and so I've got to make do with the space that I can. So here's how this is going to work. I'm going to start off showing you the setup that I used to make all of my videos for 7-8 years, something like that. I really just want to emphasize that you can start making content with anything, and then when you want to level up your content, you might want to move to some of the other stuff that I'm going to show you a bit later in this video. So to begin with, this monitor right here. The only reason I bought this monitor in the first place was because it had these composite cable ports, and they're what the original Hoppage HD PVR used back in the days of dazzles and recording your screen with a camcorder. It's that monitor, alongside this one that I got a couple years later, that I've been using all the way through until just before Black Ops 4 launch, literally a couple of weeks before Black Ops 4 came out in 2018. So I don't think it served my eyesight that well. I'm pretty sure that I got eye strain a lot using it, but the important thing is that it did the job. This next monitor here as well, again, is nothing special at all. In fact, this thing is really kind of annoying. There's like lights under here that I had to tape up because they kept shining in my eyes. This keyboard, as you can see, is nothing special at all. I think this cost £9 from WH Smith's. Like, I can just do whatever I want with it. It's really not important to me at all. The important thing is that it did the job, and it's a piece of junk, really, but it was good enough. I do, however, really like this mouse. This is a Zowie EC2A. It's just sort of perfect for my hand, so I really like this mouse. The mouse pad is really scratched up at this point because I've had that a long time as well, but that is a SteelSeries QCK Heavy. As you can see, it is a thick boy. That is a very, very thick mouse pad. If you want a chunky mouse pad, that's a great one to go for. Then if we go to the side, we have my audio setup. We've got my mic, which is a Rode NT2A. I had to save up for quite a long time to get this thing because it was quite expensive, but to be honest, I wouldn't recommend it now, seeing as there's so many other mics you can get for a similar price that I feel like do a better job for YouTube. This is the Scarlett 2i4 that I plugged into it, and you can actually see when I talk, the green light goes on. That thing is basically the interface that my mic connects to, and then it essentially processes the signal and sends it via USB into my PC. Beyond the audio stuff though, the main components of this setup that I haven't talked about, just a standard PS4, standard controller, absolutely nothing special going on there, and of course my PC. I'll have the PC specs on screen right now so you can take a look at them. I didn't have all of this in the PC from the very beginning. I started out with, I think it was a 560 Ti graphics card in my first ever PC build. I built this one myself as well. Because I built it myself, it has its downsides. It's a little bit of a mess inside. The airflow's not great. The cooling isn't great. And also, I've had issues with it blue screening. I've not been able to figure out why. And as much as I really advocate for people to build their own PCs, I think that if you're in my position where I am now, and you need your system to just consistently work 24/7 without any issues, then going for a pre-built machine is really not the end of the world. The only other remaining thing is this camera. This camera is a Canon 70D. I got this just around when the DLC season was beginning for Black Ops 3. I really enjoy making these sorts of videos, and I'm really glad I made the switch. Now then, that was the old setup, but the key takeaway I want you to get from all this, guys, is that if you want to start making videos, you don't need like a million colorful lights and a 4K webcam and all these crazy like flashy things in order to get going. I started with literally a capture card, which now is contained in any console you buy, and a laptop. And that was basically all I had. And yes, it took me a year, maybe over a year, to save up for both of those things, but I got there, I put the graft in, I worked on weekends outside of school, and I made it happen. And you can absolutely do that too. Now then, we're gonna move on to the new stuff that I've got. I'm really humbled to be able to use all this equipment on a daily basis, and I mean, it's my dream, it really is. To kick things off, we have this beautiful monitor. Now I wanna say straight away here, this was a review unit that ASUS basically had that they offered to send to me to try out, and I think this thing is glorious. It's 4K, it's 32 inches. The model name is a PA32UC, which is Pro Art, and essentially people like myself or people who are much more professional than me might use a monitor like this to edit truly like high quality video for really, really big clients. And I mean, you've got your 4K taken care of, so that's great. It's HDR, so that's a nice bonus. It's also incredibly color accurate, which is really important for me, even though it might not seem like it. When a YouTuber like myself is making a thumbnail, it's really important that the colors are actually the colors you're going to be receiving on your screen. If my colors aren't accurate, I might end up making a thumbnail that looks terrible on your device. And so this thing is just, I mean, it's just great, man. It really, really is. It's important to note that this isn't a gaming monitor. I'll be showing you a different gaming monitor in a couple of minutes that ASUS also sent through to me, and that other one is like the creme de la creme of gaming monitors. It kind of just makes the other monitors look so dinky as well. Other stuff that I have in here includes a walkie-talkie. I also have a server. Huh? What's this? I needed a central spot where I could do all of my editing, where I could store all of my video that I've recorded, etc. And it's on that server that I do all that stuff. So I think there's like 30 terabytes of storage in here. It's also in, I think, RAID 5, so there's redundancy, which means that if one of those hard drives fails, I'm not gonna lose all my data, which is a big thumbs up. Now, one thing to note while we're on this topic, NETGEAR are the company that makes this particular type of server. This thing was not sent to me by them though. I bought this myself. I bought all the storage inside, like all of that's mine. But there's other stuff in this video that NETGEAR did provide because I worked with them to get this thing configured in the first place. They didn't pay me to talk about this or anything like that though, so you don't need to worry there. I'll disclose whenever something was sent to me by a company, don't you worry. So, some other gear that I've been using, this is a HyperX keyboard that was sent to me by HyperX. They very kindly sent this over, and this mouse, and they also sent over that headset that's over there next to the PS4, and this headset that's plugged into this PC just here. Then we've also got this Elgato mousepad. Elgato are a company that I've been working with for a long time now, and they provided those mousepads when we first did the Boogie Boys house in LA. The only other thing that I think I should probably mention in this room is this chair, just a standard swivelly chair that came with the flat, but then this is my other PC. I mean, that's a bed. Yeah, I mentioned this is a student flat, right? We've got to use this space where we can, guys. But that right there is my like hardcore editing station. This thing is built to be super crispy on the edits. I'll once again have the specs on screen so you can check them out and see what's actually inside it. That was a PC that I bought just before Black Ops 4 came out as well. I actually got that one from Scan. They didn't pay me. I'm not sponsored by them, nothing like that. It came in literally the day Black Ops 4 came out, so it was a real squeeze, and that was one of 2 systems that I got from them. That's this room. This light normally lives in the other room with my other setup, so I'm going to bring this through and then start recording in there. Here you can see this little box. That box is an Ethernet switch, and that basically means that all the devices in here don't need to be running on Wi-Fi. Instead, they're all connected to the switch. That switch is one of the things that was provided to me by NETGEAR, so thank you guys for that. Okay, we made it out into the corridor. I'm going to be climbing up on this chair here. It's a bit of a kind of squeeze getting up here, but basically up here you'll see that my internet basically comes through here via fiber, which is piped directly into the house, and that basically runs its way through and then comes in via these thin little cables here. That then gets plugged into this thing up here, which is the absolutely beautiful XR500 router from NETGEAR. NETGEAR sent me that router at the same time that they sent me these boxes, these Ethernet switches that I showed you before, and it's that router that is the first kind of part of the network that then breaks up and goes into all the different rooms in my house. Now, the good thing about configuring it this way is that that router has loads of really cool features that I'll show you guys in just a second that you can basically customize your internet connection with. The reason I've got it in such a weird place up there with like this chair that I'm standing on with my Elgato sliders. I mean, they say my name on the side. I'm in love. Anyway, this is where my landlord basically keeps all his networking stuff, and I couldn't really change that. The router is an absolute beauty though, and it's funny because a couple years ago, a company called NETGEAR sort of appeared in the COD scene on YouTube, and they were doing loads of really cool stuff in the kind of router space. The operating system that router uses is called Juma OS. It's that OS that allows them to do all the cool stuff that I'm literally about to show you guys. So these guys really kind of gained traction in the Call of Duty space years ago, and here they are now still to this day powering my setup. I think that's awesome. So this is what it looks like when you log into the router itself. As you can see, you've got a little overview here. So this shows you exactly what your speeds are with your network usage at any given time. The really interesting stuff though is here on the left-hand side. So we're going to go to GeoFilter. And this is a tool that allows you to essentially decide where you want the other players in your lobbies to be from. Obviously, when you're in a game, the game is expected to try and find people near you, but sometimes it does a really bad job. And what this essentially does is gives you an option to force the game to spend an extra 30 seconds or something matchmaking, but finding a lobby that's actually not going to have anyone lagging in it. It's also really useful if, for example, you want to only matchmake with people that speak a certain language. I mean, I know that in Counter-Strike, very often, I go into matchmaking and get matched with people in Russia. And it's a nightmare, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. Whereas maybe you, like me, have French family, or maybe you speak Spanish, something like that. If so, you can just restrict it to this little region here, and Bob's your uncle. You'll get no more kids screaming Russian, but you will get some lower ping European teammates instead. Okay, let's switch tabs once again and talk about anti-buffer bloat. This is a gaming traffic fast lane. So let's say, for example, your flatmate starts watching Netflix while you're in the middle of a game. That's going to cause a traffic spike on your network, but if you've got anti-buffer bloat enabled with this high priority traffic option, you'll always have a permanent bandwidth allocation for any gaming that you might be doing. So you won't have to deal with any lag spikes because you'll always have a stable kind of bandwidth allocation that will never be eaten into by any other devices. And you can fine tune this down here, saying, okay, I want PC1 to get the majority of the bandwidth and then maybe PC4 to get just a little chunk. So overall, as you can imagine, as a YouTuber, this is great because it means that I can ensure that my productivity stays high and it's never throttled by my flatmates watching Netflix or anything like that, and my gaming experience is as ensured as possible to be low lag and just a really smooth time, a really smooth session. So that's why the XL500 is so useful, and that's why Juma OS, which is free by the way, it's just part of the router, is such a benefit compared to a lot of the other routers that don't have software like this. And sometimes if they do have the software, it's impossible to understand. So this is at least really intuitive as well. The really nice thing about the two monitors that ASUS sent me, the second of which I'll show you in just a second, and all of the stuff that NETGEAR sent through, which I still have something to show you from, is that I genuinely really like all these things. They were like my goals for the equipment that I wanted to kind of get to and end up using in my setup, and somehow, by hook or by crook, I made it, and I'm just really grateful that those companies want to work with me in the first place, and also want to send me some stuff to try out. So we've made it now into my streaming room. This is where I get all my work done. I realized quite early on in this process that I didn't really have any need for all of the kind of fancy visual things that a lot of streamers have in their stream rooms. So, for example, turning the lights different colors, just not a huge deal to me personally because I'm much more interested in functionality. That's also my excuse for this awful cable management, Jesus Christ. I am working on it, I really do promise. So in here, straight away, this is the second monitor that was sent to me by ASUS, and this is the PG27UQ. It's basically the ultimate gaming monitor, and when I say that, like, I know that sounds like a kind of bullet-pointed cliche thing to say, the ultimate gaming monitor. I actually mean it. I mean it to the extent that when we went to Treyarch to review Black Ops 4 early, these are the monitors we were using. Like, they're that good that a multi-billion-dollar company like Activision are buying them to try and make their game look better. Like, it's a gloriously good monitor. It's got G-Sync, it's got HDR, it's 4K, it's 27 inches, so it's slightly smaller than the other one that I had in the other room, but that's actually a good thing when you're gaming. It's got fast response time, it's got 144 Hz refresh rate. This is just another random monitor that I picked up off Amazon, and so I tend to use this one for like reading chat and stuff like that. This is what I do all of my gaming on, my PS4 and my PC. Whatever I'm using, I'll do it on this. Okay, other stuff that I've got in here. This is a Call of Duty Black Ops 4 branded keyboard. It's RGB, as you can see. It's another ASUS one, and this mouse pad and this mouse were all sent through by ASUS once again. Then just next to them, I've got my headphones, and these I've used for, again, like 6-7 years now. They're one of the few pieces of kit that I brought with me from that old setup. They're really comfortable. I wear them all day, every day. It doesn't get uncomfortable, but I love these things. ATH M50Xs, fantastic headphones for YouTube. Next to those, I have my Stream Deck. This thing is amazing. Basically, anyone that does any sort of streaming should have one of these. Like, I'm sponsored by Elgato. I'll happily disclose that, but genuinely, there just isn't anything that a competitor makes that is anywhere close to how good this thing is as far as my opinion goes. Then across on the desk, my Switch dock, which I only just bought. I only just got my Switch today. Also got Smash. I also got this battery, which is an Anker 20,000 watt-hour battery, but I think I might have got the wrong one because this one doesn't have USB-C. I think you're meant to get USB-C for it to charge faster or something. Next to all that stuff is a tablet. This is a graphics tablet that I can use if I want to draw stuff. I've got my passport here just because I'm going on a trip fairly soon. I've got an Elgato Cam Link, which I'm going to be using with a new camera that I got quite recently for Black Ops 4. I don't want to use this camera because this camera doesn't have a clean HDMI output, I don't think, but this new camera I got, which is a Sony a6500, that does have a clean output and it's crispy as hell. The plan is that I'm going to use this tripod that you can see just here, and that's going to go behind my setup, and then the cam link will mean that I have a permanent 4K webcam quality through the A6500 whenever I'm streaming. Anyway, also on the desk, there's a calculator. They're always useful. And here's my phone. This I've had for like 3 years. It's a OnePlus 2. The screen is scratched to all hell, but does the job. Here's the Joby tripod that I mentioned earlier. You all know how these sorts of things work. You can wrap the legs around stuff. You can bend them. You can mold it to your shape that you need. It's just generally a really useful piece of kit. This boom arm is a Rode. And I also got this Shure SM7B recently. It's kind of been a meme for a long time on YouTube that like everyone buys the Shure SM7B. JC just got one. Maybe like the Breakfast Club or something used them too. They're all over the place because they sound fantastic, but you kind of also need this little blue box called a cloud lifter. There's another alternative one that I've forgotten the name of right now, but it's slightly cheaper and gives you 5 dB less gain. But the cloud lifter I figured was just the best one to go for, and so that's why I picked that one up. Then, as I'm sure you can see underneath there, another one of those Scarlett products. This one is a 2i2 instead of the 4i2 that I had in the other room. You'll notice here that the configuration is slightly different because I'm going microphone here, and then that's threading along. That's going into the cloud lifter. The cloud lifter is then going in here, so it's not going into the Scarlett. It's actually going into a different box first. I'll talk about that in a sec. And that box then comes out and winds its way back into the Scarlett, and then the Scarlett goes into the PC. My PS4 Pro's back here as well. So this box is a DBX 286S, and this is basically the hardware effects chain which all of my commentary goes through. I used to use Reaper for this and Isotope Alloy, the VST plugin. Essentially the signal comes in here and then sweeps across the unit. So that's something that I got again really recently, just before Black Ops 4 essentially. Now another sneaky boy hiding behind here is this bad boy. This is another thing that NETGEAR sent through. It's a NETGEAR SX10 Ethernet switch. And this thing is gorgeous, first of all. It legitimately looks like a chunk of alien technology is just sitting on my desk at all times, and all these RGB lights are customizable, so you know exactly what port is what and what's connected in here. And so just that chassis, combined with the fact that it's personalizable, and it's got 10 gigabit Ethernet ports too, which is really vital for my setup here, is just so nice. So my internet comes in there from my XR500 in the corridor. That winds its way along, horrible mess of cables, but then it goes all the way around to this switch. That's what's coming in, I guess, there, I believe, something like that. And then in this case, the other 10 gigabit Ethernet port would be this orange one. And so I've currently got that going to my PS4. Normally that's not going to my PS4. Normally it's going to my PC, just because the PS4 can't even support 10 gigabit as far as I'm aware. But I was trying to download like a million patches, I think. And so I think I swapped them around just to see if it would make it any faster, something like that. Ultimately, normally my PC has that 10 gigabit connection going to it. This PC, thankfully, has a 10 gigabit NIC inside, and that means that it's able to support the 10 gigabit connection. This is an SD card reader for my cameras. And I mean, you've got these studio lights as well. These things are massive softboxes I got off Amazon. They were whatever the cheap ones were. I used to use that ring light all the time. That's a Neewer one. I've not actually been able to set it back up just yet. I will set that back up and it will become part of my setup, probably going right in the middle there, but for now it's just been relegated to the floor. And also amongst this absolute rat's nest of wires, you've got things like my Hue hub just down there. So That's what allows me to change the color of that light, which is up there. Both of those are surge protected, by the way, so don't worry, that's not as dangerous as it looks, I don't think. I also have this huge whiteboard that I use to record loads of my videos, and my laptop that I got recently as well. The more attractive thing in this area of the room, though, is my Rave in the Redwoods poster. I've got loads of boxes and stuff here just because I'm in the process of changing up this entire setup still, and I don't know what I can throw away and what I can't, so I'm just keeping everything. Like over there, you've got the box for my server, and you've got the mystery box as well. You've got another mystery box. I don't know if we're going to do something for Easter eggs for charity with one of these. Something like that, maybe. You've got this Lego thing that I got sent through by Warner Bros. Thank you, guys. This webcam I've tried to relegate and will be relegating very soon. It's a Logitech C920. It's all right. It does the job, but I'd recommend getting a cam link if you can. And on the floor as well, something I should probably mention is that I've got my Elgato green screen ready to go. Literally at a moment's notice. This thing is glorious. Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. Chroma key me out and I'll do some funny things. But yeah, this thing is incredible. It's so useful being able to literally do that and have a green screen just instantly. I love it so much. And does that wrap up the entire setup? Have I got to everything? Ah, of course. The one thing that I'm forgetting, the walkie-talkie. So, as I'm sure you've realized at this point, if I'm in here streaming, there's an entire other room just free to be used with all that equipment in it. And the reason that I split myself into these two separate rooms like this is that I basically wanted to take a leaf out of the Yogscast's book, who have a really awesome studio here in Bristol, and I wanted a space where another person could work completely removed from this particular room, where they could still be really efficient, they could still be really productive, and they could edit my stuff if they needed to. And this is something that I haven't really figured out for like a full-time position yet, but it's my dream that one day I might be able to bring other people into my kind of brand and business and have them as full-time editors. And I don't think that I'm gonna be able to do that in this flat. Like, it would just be weird having someone coming in full-time into my flat where I live with other people to edit. I don't think that would necessarily work as a proper position, but it's practice, right? It's getting used to it, it's figuring out the kinks, it's getting that 10 gigabit line set up so that I can record gameplay in here using my Elgato, which is inside my PC, that's got a 4K 60 Pro in it, and I can then send that into the other room in seconds because of that 10 gigabit line. That can be on the server, they can edit it, they can send it back, I can jump onto the server, do some tweaks, things like that, and it all becomes like a much bigger operation. It's something I wanted to do for years and years and years and just never been able to save up enough to essentially buy all this equipment and get it done, but I finally managed it just before Black Ops 4, and again, with the help of NETGEAR and with the help of ASUS, providing a little bit of this equipment, I've been able to sort of get one step closer to my dream ultimate gamer setup / ultimate YouTube productivity environment studio thing. Like, it still needs some work, 100%, but it's one step closer, and that's really exciting for me. So obviously, if there is someone else in the other room, then maybe walkie-talkie is a way to communicate. The one final thing to show you is the fact that my table can go up. Yeah, I got a standing table, just like you've seen in PewDiePie's videos and all sorts of other ones. I have found this thing to be an absolute lifesaver. Basically, my chairs are not very comfortable, and I need to do something about that. Chair companies, hit me up. But because of that, when I was, for example, grinding Destiny 2 really hard, it ended up giving me really bad back pain. And one of the things that helped alleviate that was being able to actually stand up and move around a bit. Much easier to take breaks when you're already standing up, and just generally, I think it's really useful just having that extra space if you need it to be able to stand. So yeah, it meant that the desk was much more expensive. This is just like a standard IKEA one, but if it's improving my health in any way, then it's kind of worth it. It's like buying a mattress. You might as well invest a little bit more than you might otherwise spend, because you're gonna have it for 5 years, man, or 10 years. So it's worth that extra little bit of cost. Oh, also one thing I just remembered I needed to mention, my Amazon Basics dual monitor mount. It's the cheapest one that was on the website, I'm pretty sure. And I mean, it's great. It means that I can orient these exactly as I need them. So yeah, hopefully this gives you an idea of my 2018 going on 2019 productivity, YouTuber, gaming sort of place, thing, collection of rooms. If you've enjoyed the video, then please drop a like on it. That would be really appreciated. And also obviously check out the description if there are any things that you feel like you want to buy down there. I don't currently know if I'm gonna have affiliate links or not, so assume that any link in the description could be an affiliate link, because I don't know what I've got right now. Just assume at least that there are affiliate links down there. Okay, so I've been MrRoflWaffles. Thank you for watching this really long setup video. This is going to be a joy to edit. If you want to see videos about the software settings that I'm using and the exact kind of configuration of my programs and etc., then definitely let me know too. I'm happy to do that at some point, but I wanted to get this out while the year was still in progress. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I've been MrRoflWaffles. I'll see you next time. Drop a like. Bye for now.